Everything you thought you knew about death is wrong. Those aren't my words. They're the words implicit in a letter written by Albert Einstein just weeks before his own death. A letter so profound that it challenges the very foundation of how humanity understands mortality, and what he revealed in those final weeks of his life suggests that death, as we commonly understand it, may be the greatest illusion of human existence. I'm going to tell you what Einstein really believed about death, not the watered-down version you find in textbooks, not the vague spiritual platitudes people attribute to him. I'm going to share what the greatest physicist in history concluded after spending decades studying the nature of time, space, and reality itself. And I warn you, what you're about to hear may fundamentally change how you view your own mortality. On March 21st, 1955, Einstein received news that shook him deeply. His lifelong friend, Besso, had died. They'd known each other for over 60 years, since their student days in Zurich. Besso was the man Einstein credited with helping him develop the special theory of relativity. He was more than a friend. He was a brother of the mind, and now he was gone. Most people, when writing a condolence letter to the family of a deceased friend, offer words of comfort about heaven, about reunion in the afterlife, about the soul continuing its journey. Einstein did something radically different. He wrote to the Besso family, and his exact words were, "Now he has departed from this strange world a little ahead of me." That means nothing. People like us, who believe in physics, know that the distinction between past, present, and future, it is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. Read that again. Einstein called the distinction between past, present, and future an illusion. He said that Besso departing ahead of him means nothing. What kind of condolence letter dismisses death as meaningless? The kind written by a man who had spent his entire life uncovering truths about reality that most humans cannot comprehend. Einstein was not offering empty comfort. He was stating what he believed to be a scientific fact, based on his own equations, based on decades of work on the nature of time and space. Einstein had concluded that death, as we understand it, the permanent ending of existence, is an illusion created by our limited perception of reality. Let me explain what he meant, because this is where everything you were taught about death begins to crumble. In 1905, Einstein published his special theory of relativity. Among its many revolutionary insights was a profound discovery about time. Time is not absolute. It is not a constant river, flowing at the same rate for everyone, everywhere. Time is relative. It depends on the observer. It changes based on velocity and gravity. Two people can experience different amounts of time, depending on their motion and position in space. This was shocking enough, but what emerged from the mathematics was even more disturbing. The equations suggested that past, present, and future are not separate categories of existence. They are not sequential moments where one replaces the other. Instead, they all exist simultaneously. What we experience as the flow of time, with the past disappearing and the future arriving, is a product of our consciousness, not a feature of reality itself. Physicists call this the block universe theory, or eternalism. Imagine the entire history of the universe, from the Big Bang to the eventual heat death of the cosmos, as a single four-dimensional block. Every moment in time exists within this block. The dinosaurs are still there. The Roman Empire is still there. Your birth is still there. Your death is still there. All moments exist eternally within the fabric of space-time. From within this block, we experience what we call the present moment. We seem to move through time, watching the future become the present and the present become the past. But this movement is an illusion, a trick of consciousness. In reality, All moments are equally real, equally present, equally existing. Now, to think about what this means for death. If all moments exist simultaneously, then the moment of your death does not erase the moments of your life. Your childhood still exists. Your first love still exists. Every experience you have ever had still exists. Death is not the ending of existence. It is simply a particular moment within the eternal block of space-time, a moment that exists alongside all the other moments of your life. This is what Einstein believed. This is what he was telling the Besso family. Michel Besso had not ceased to exist. He had simply reached a particular moment within the block universe. But all the moments of his life, all his experiences, all his consciousness still existed eternally within the fabric of reality. From the perspective of the universe itself, nothing had been lost. Einstein wrote that letter on March 21st, 1955. He died less than 1 month later, on April 18th, 1955. He knew he was dying. He had been living with an abdominal aortic aneurysm for years, a ticking time bomb in his body that could rupture at any moment. When it finally began to fail, doctors rushed to save him. They wanted to perform emergency surgery. Einstein refused. His exact words to his doctors were, "I want to go when I want. It is tasteless to prolong life artificially. I have done my share. It is time to go. I will do it elegantly." Think about that response. A man facing imminent death offered a chance to extend his life, and he declines. Not because he was tired of living, not because he was in unbearable pain, but because he believed that clinging to life artificially was tasteless, because he believed it was his time, because he had done his share. This is not how people who fear death respond. This is not how people who believe death is the end respond. This is how someone responds, who has understood something profound about the nature of existence, someone who has seen through the illusion. On the night of April 17th, Einstein was admitted to Princeton Hospital. He spent his final hours exactly as he had spent most of his life, working on physics. 12 pages of equations were found by his bedside when he died. Even facing death, he was trying to unify the fundamental forces of nature, pursuing the theory of everything that had eluded him for decades. At 1:15 in the morning on April 18th, 1955, Einstein spoke his final words, but we will never know what they were. He spoke in German, and the nurse attending him did not understand the language. His last communication with the world was lost in translation. Some find this tragic. I find it fitting. Einstein spent his life trying to communicate truths that most humans could not comprehend. It seems appropriate that his final words would remain beyond our grasp. Now, let me take you deeper into what Einstein understood about mortality, because the block universe theory is just the beginning. Throughout his life, Einstein was fascinated by the relationship between consciousness and physical reality. He did not believe that consciousness simply emerges from matter. He saw something more mysterious at work. In his correspondence with various philosophers and physicists, Einstein repeatedly returned to the puzzle of why consciousness exists at all and what its relationship is to the mathematical structure of the universe. In his famous 1950 letter about the optical delusion of consciousness, Einstein wrote, "A human being is a part of the whole, called by us universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings, as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons nearest to us." Einstein called our sense of individual existence an optical delusion. He said we experience ourselves as separate from the rest of the universe, but this separation is an illusion. In reality, we are part of the whole. We are the universe, experiencing itself through a particular point of view. Now combine this insight with the block universe theory. If time is an illusion and all moments exist simultaneously, and if our sense of individual existence is also an illusion, a trick of consciousness, then what exactly dies when we die? The body certainly ceases to function at a particular moment in space-time, but the consciousness that experienced itself through that body, the awareness that seemed to inhabit that form, where does it go? Einstein suggested that it does not go anywhere because it was never separate from the whole to begin with. The illusion of a separate self dissolves, but the reality that underlied that illusion continues. The universe goes on, experiencing itself, as it always has, as it always will. This is not the everlasting of traditional religion. Einstein explicitly rejected the idea of personal everlasting. In a 1953 letter, he wrote, "I do not believe in everlasting of the individual." He did not think that your specific personality, your memories, your sense of being you, continues after mortality in some heavenly realm. But he also did not believe that mortality is the absolute end, because he did not believe that there was ever a truly separate individual to end. The self that seems to pass was always part of the larger whole, and the larger whole does not pass, because the larger whole exists outside of time. If you are finding this challenging to grasp, you are in good company. Einstein himself said that these ideas were difficult, even for quantum physics, but he believed they were true, and he lived his final days in accordance with this understanding. What makes Einstein's view so remarkable is that it emerged not from wishful thinking or spiritual tradition, but from cold, hard mathematics. The equations of the special theory of relativity do not care about human feelings. They simply describe reality as it is, and what they describe is a universe where time is not what we think it is. Consider this. When Einstein developed the special theory of relativity, he discovered that simultaneity is relative. Two events that appear to happen at the same time, for one observer, might happen at different times, for another observer moving at a different speed. There is no universal now that everyone shares. Your present moment is not the same as the present moment of someone moving relative to you. This has profound implications. If there is no universal now, then the present moment has no special status. It is not the only moment that exists. It is simply the moment you happen to be experiencing, but from the perspective of someone moving differently. Your past might be their present, and your future might be their present. All moments must exist for this to make sense. This is not philosophy. This is quantum physics. The relativity of simultaneity has been confirmed by countless experiments. It is one of the most well-tested predictions in all of science, and it leads inexorably to the conclusion that past, present, and future all exist simultaneously in the block universe. Einstein understood this better than anyone. He derived these equations, he knew their implications, and he accepted what they told him about mortality, even though it contradicted everything human beings had believed for millennia. Let me share something else that reveals Einstein's attitude toward mortality. Throughout his life, Einstein received thousands of letters from people asking about the meaning of life, the existence of God, and what happens when we pass. He responded to many of these letters personally, and his answers were remarkably consistent. To one correspondent who asked about the fear of mortality, Einstein wrote that such fear stems from the illusion of the individual self. He suggested that if we could see ourselves as what we truly are, as temporary manifestations of a greater whole, fear of mortality would naturally dissolve. Not because we would believe in an afterlife, but because we would understand that the individual self we fear losing was never as real as we thought. In another letter, Einstein compared human life to a wave in the ocean. The wave appears to have a separate existence. It rises, it crests, it falls, it seems to be born and to pass. But the wave was never separate from the ocean. Its apparent existence as a distinct entity was an appearance only. When the wave subsides, nothing is lost. The water that made up the wave returns to the ocean, from which it never truly departed. This is how Einstein viewed human life and mortality. We are waves in the ocean of existence. We seem to be separate. We seem to be born and to pass. But our apparent separateness is an illusion. We are always part of the whole. And when our individual wave subsides, we return to the ocean, from which we never truly departed. Now I want to address why you were not taught this in school, why Einstein's profound insights about mortality and time and consciousness are not part of our common understanding. The answer is complicated. Part of it is simply that these ideas are difficult. They require a grasp of quantum physics that most people do not have. The block universe theory emerges from the mathematics of the special and general theory of relativity, and most people never study these subjects at the level required to understand their implications. But there is another reason. These ideas are threatening. They threaten religious institutions that depend on particular beliefs about the afterlife. They threaten our deeply ingrained sense of individual identity. They challenge the fundamental assumptions upon which most human societies are built. If time is an illusion, if the self is an illusion, if mortality is an illusion, then what are we really living for? What's the point of striving and achieving if all moments exist eternally and nothing is ever truly lost? These questions are unsettling, and most people would rather not confront them. Einstein, he confronted them. He spent his life peering into the mathematical structure of the universe and accepting whatever truths emerged, regardless of how uncomfortable they were. And what emerged was a vision of reality far stranger than any religious mythology. A universe where time is a stubborn illusion, where individual existence is an optical delusion, where passing is a moment, not an ending. Let me tell you about one more aspect of Einstein's view that you were probably never taught. Einstein believed in what he called cosmic religious feeling. This was his term for the profound sense of awe and mystery that comes from contemplating the mathematical order of the universe. In his 1930 essay on religion and science, Einstein wrote, "The most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion which stands at the cradle of true art and true science." He went on to describe how perceiving the mathematical harmony of the universe evokes a sense of wonder that transcends ordinary religious feeling. Einstein did not believe in a personal God who listens to prayers or judges behavior, but he was not an atheist in the common sense either. He explicitly rejected the label. He believed in something, some profound order and intelligence pervading the universe, even if he rejected the anthropomorphic conceptions of traditional religion. And this cosmic religious feeling was connected to his understanding of mortality. When you truly perceive that you are part of a vast, ordered, mathematical universe, when you understand that your individual existence is a temporary appearance within an everlasting whole, when you grasp that time itself is not what it seems, passing loses its terror. Not because you expect to continue as an individual, but because you understand that the individual was never the whole story. This is the Einstein they do not teach you about. The Einstein who wrote about the optical delusion of consciousness. The Einstein who told a grieving family that passing means nothing. The Einstein who refused surgery and chose to die elegantly because he had done his share. The Einstein who saw through the illusion of time and found peace. There is another aspect of Einstein's understanding that we need to explore. Einstein was deeply influenced by the philosopher Baruch Spinoza, who lived in the 17th century. Spinoza proposed that God and nature are identical. There is no supernatural realm separate from the natural world. The universe itself, with all its mathematical order and harmony, is what we call God. Einstein embraced this view wholeheartedly. When asked if he believed in God, Einstein famously replied that he believed in Spinoza's God, who reveals himself in the harmony of all that exists, not in a God who concerns himself with the fate and actions of human beings. This Spinozan perspective shaped Einstein's view of passing profoundly. If God is identical with the universe, and if the universe is everlasting, in the sense that all moments exist simultaneously in space-time, then to pass is not to cease existing. It is to return to the whole from which we were never truly separate. It is to recognize that our individual existence was always an appearance within the infinite substance of the universe. Spinoza himself wrote about this. He said that the human mind cannot be absolutely destroyed with the body, but something of it remains, which is everlasting. Einstein interpreted this through the lens of quantum physics. The something that remains is not a ghost or a spirit in the traditional sense. It is the everlasting existence of all the moments of your life within the block universe. Your consciousness at every moment you have ever experienced still exists within space-time. This is a radical reinterpretation of immortality, not the continuation of the individual self after death, which Einstein rejected, but the everlasting existence of every moment of consciousness within the fabric of reality itself. In this view, nothing is ever truly lost. Everything that has ever happened, everything that has ever been experienced, exists forever in the block universe. If you are finding this video valuable, if Einstein's perspective on mortality is offering you something new, the Super Thanks button is how you can support more content like this. Every contribution helps bring these hidden insights to more people, and I genuinely appreciate everyone who helps make this channel possible. Now, let me bring this to a personal level, because these are not just abstract ideas, they have practical implications for how we live and how we face our own mortality. If Einstein was right, then everything you were taught about passing is wrong. Passing is not the end of existence. It is a moment within an everlasting existence that includes all the moments of your life. Your past does not disappear when the present arrives. Your life does not cease to exist when your passing arrives. All moments are equally real, equally present within the fabric of space-time. This does not mean that passing does not matter. It does not mean that life has no significance, quite the opposite. If all moments exist eternally, then how you live your life matters eternally. The kindness you show today does not fade into oblivion. The love you share does not disappear. Every moment of your existence is a permanent feature of reality. But it does mean that the fear of passing, the terror of non-existence, may be based on a misunderstanding. You fear the ending of something that does not truly end. You fear the loss of a self that was always part of a larger whole. You fear a future moment while forgetting that all moments and past and future are equally real. Einstein faced his own passing with remarkable equanimity. He did not cling to life. He did not rage against the dying of the light. He accepted passing as part of the natural order, as a moment that had always existed within the block of space-time, as a return to the whole from which he had never truly been separated. This is what it looks like, to understand what Einstein understood, not blind faith in an afterlife, not desperate denial of mortality, but a deep comprehension of the nature of time and existence that transforms how one relates to passing. Let me share one final story that illuminates Einstein's attitude in his final days. In the weeks before his passing, Einstein continued to work on his unified field theory. He continued to correspond with colleagues. He continued to engage with the world. He did not retreat into despair or spend his remaining time contemplating passing. He lived fully until the moment he died. When asked by a reporter what he thought about mortality, Einstein reportedly said that he had made peace with the idea a long time ago. He said that individual existence was like a prison, and passing was a release from that prison, not into nothingness, but into the larger reality from which individual existence had always been a temporary separation. These are not the words of a man who feared death. These are the words of a man who had seen through the illusion that makes death so frightening. And his vision wasn't based on faith or hope, but on the mathematical structure of reality as revealed through his own equations. So, what do you do with this information? How do you live, knowing what Einstein knew? First, do you stop fearing mortality in the way you did before? This does not mean you become reckless with your life. It means you stop letting the fear of death poison the moments you are living. You stop treating life as a race against the clock. You start experiencing each moment as what it truly is, an everlasting feature of reality that will never disappear. Second, you recognize the illusion of separation for what it really is. You are not an isolated individual struggling against a hostile universe. You are the universe experiencing itself through a particular point of view. The people you love are not separate from you. They are other waves in the same ocean, and when their waves subside, nothing is truly lost. Third, you cultivate what Einstein called cosmic religious feeling. You allow yourself to be imbued by the mathematical order of existence. You recognize that understanding the universe is, in Einstein's words, a form of worship. You approach life with the wonder of a scientist and the reverence of a mystic. This is Einstein's gift to us, not just the equations that revolutionized quantum physics, not just the technologies that emerged from his discoveries, but a vision of mortality that liberates us from our deepest fears, a vision that shows us what we truly are. Not isolated individuals destined for oblivion, but everlasting aspects of a universe that contains all moments, all experiences, all existence. Everything you were taught about death is wrong. The ending you fear is an illusion. The self you think will be lost was never separate from the whole. And time, that river that seems to carry everything away, exists all at once in the block, space-time, that contains your life everlastingly. This is what Einstein believed. This is what he tried to communicate in his letters about the optical delusion of consciousness and the stubborn persistence of the illusion of time. This is why he faced his own passing with elegance and acceptance. And now, you know too. What do you think about Einstein's view of death? Does it comfort you or disturb you? Does the idea that all moments exist everlastingly change how you feel about mortality? Does the concept of the block space-time feel true to you? Or does it seem like a scientific abstraction? I want to know your honest reaction. Comment below with your thoughts. And remember, when you disagree, that is when the most interesting conversations happen. I respond to comments in the first few hours, so share your perspective now.